What's good everyone? Welcome back to the channel, and in today's video I will show you how you can build a team of research agents that are capable to go really in depth on a particular topic, gather the information from the web, gather the sources of information, and write a final article by citing that information. So on the screen you can actually see the workflow itself, but I'm quickly going to show you the article that was written by AI and citing the original sources of information. So again, this was actually an article about let me check. It was about benefits of keto diet, and it wrote an article and it cited the sources of where it got the information. So for example, if I click on the link that was added here, I can see the original source of information, or actually a scientific paper on that particular topic. So yeah, these AI agents are really capable going in depth on a topic, and in today's video I want to show you how you can build this team of research agents by yourself and how you can implement something like this. So without further ado, let's jump into the video. And the first thing is probably that's important for us is how do we start the workflow. I particularly in this case chose to start the workflow with Airtable. So if I go into Airtable, you can see that I have a simple table. I have the topic, I have the length, so words, like how long I want the article to be, the status, so for example these articles that already have been written, and I have a Google Docs link over here, and then a button to actually start the flow. So I'm going to go through everything step by step, so don't worry, I'm going to show you how I'm adding these links and how I'm writing these articles. But just to make this a bit more interesting, what I'm going to do, I'm going to hit test the workflow, and I'm going to trigger the workflow. And while I talk through it, it's going to finish, and by the end of the video we can actually see what is the article. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press start. It shows me the message that workflow was started, so I can exit this out. I can go here and I can see that our research manager agent actually has started researching the topic. So how does this work? First of all, there is like a button in Airtable with the webhook. Then I have like a question mark at the end, record ID equal, and then I just append the record ID. And when I click on this button, it just calls that webhook with the record ID. And over here, when I go into here, I can see, that, for example, I'm fetching that record ID from the webhook. So because it actually has a query, record ID, and here it is. So that's the simple part of just how you can start this workflow. But now let's get into the details and actually into the agents itself. So as you can see, I have the research manager agent that is responsible for researching the topic itself. Then I have the target audience research agent, outline agent. So the target audience research agent is actually researching the target audience and for whom this article might be useful or relevant, or for whom we should write this article. Then we have an outline agent. So this agent actually creates a chapters for the article. So we would have a clear structure. Then we're doing like chapter research for each chapter, obviously. And then we have writing assistant, humanization assistant, and formatting agent. So writing assistant, what it does when it has all of the research, when it has the outline, it writes the article. Then there's humanization assistant, and this one is actually trying to bypass the AI detectors. So I'm going to show you, if it works or not. To be completely honest, sometimes it works and sometimes it's not. So this is like a very cheap solution, but if, for example, you would want this to work 100% of the time, you would need to invest some money into additional tools or software that helps to bypass the AI detectors. But that's just a quick overview. Now let's go a bit in depth. So the first agent we have is a research manager agent. And this agent has two things attached to it. So the first thing is going to be an OpenAI chat model. So this is the brain of the Manager agent. And the second tool that we have is a Perplexity research tool. So this tool is actually responsible for gathering the information from the web and then collecting links and citations. So further on, we can add those citations into the article. So here, you can see I'm just calling the workflow Perplexity research tool, but we can go into the tool itself, and it's very simple, very straightforward. As a trigger, it's just a workflow input trigger. There's nothing in it, pretty much. Then what I'm doing is actually I'm calling a Perplexity chat completion API. So if I'm gonna open this up, you can see the method is post, the URL is chat completions. Then I have, my API key over here. And here I'm sending the JSON body. And the only thing that I'm adding is the content, which is JSON.query, and this just passes the information. So essentially what this is gonna do, this is just gonna pass this topic, this particular topic, to Perplexity. And then Perplexity is gonna start doing the research. And then we're giving a response to the agents, and here we share the research, so the message content, and then we share citations as well. So then later on, we can actually reference them in the article. So yeah, this is the tool. For the model, I'm just using 4.0 mini because this is a pretty much simple task. Actually, the AI agent doesn't really need a lot of knowledge, but later on, I'm gonna show the other chat models I'm using for writing and for formatting. So in the research manager, I have two prompts, so system message and then user prompt over here. So if we go into the system message, you can see what is the role and objective. So first of all, this is the process that I outlined. So topic analysis, research methodology, synthesis, and critical evaluation. And then I'm asking it to, format and output it in a particular way. So I want it to include, let's say, proper citations and in-text references for any new data. So that's, the prompt that we have for the first agent, or for research manager agent that is responsible for researching the topic itself. Then we have the target audience research agent, and this agent, as you can see, it has the same model attached and the exact same tool attached. So the only thing that's different about it is its prompt. Yeah, so first let's go into the system prompt. Over here, again, you can pause the video, you can read through the whole prompt, but what I'm just saying, you're an expert content strategist and researcher. Your first task is to gather detailed insights about the target audience before crafting an article suited to them. Always use Perplexity research tool to perform research. So I do this, I just mentioned, for the agent that he needs to use this tool to do the research. So it wouldn't just make up stuff on its own, or it wouldn't just use, OpenAI to gather that information. I want it to actually be done research from Google and from the web. Yeah, and you can of course read the rest of the prompt, but let's go into the user message. So over here, I provide the topic of the article. So again, this is from the Airtable. Then I actually skipped this part and I deleted this field because I didn't like the way it impacted the writing, the final output, but I was actually trying to provide like a type of article I actually want, and I just wasn't happy with the output, so I deleted it, but I just forgot to remove this here. So I'm gonna remove it now. And then I'm adding research that we already have and already made. This is, just a reference for the target audience research agent. The next thing we have is actually an outline agent, and outline agent actually doesn't have the research tool because it already has the research about the manager, it already has the research about target audience. All it needs to do is come up with an outline or chapters that are gonna fit our article. And for this, again, it's connected to the same OpenAI chat model, but it has a structured output parser connected to it because I want the agent to provide a particular output, which later on is gonna allow us to do research for each chapter separately. So let's see how this works. So I'm gonna go into the system message first, and here you can see that. So again, you can read through the system message, but overall, over here, I say maintain a style that matches target audience description and tone of voice that speaks to them. So that's why I'm doing the research in the first place. I'm adding actually, I don't know why I'm adding the date. Yeah, this probably should have been in previous two agents and I added this one. Yeah, but this should actually be in all of the previous agents, but also when Perplexity does research. So for example, here, we can go here. You can add like a search recency filter. So like how back, the research goes. So this, in this case, it goes 1 year back. It looks for the sources that are not older than 1 year. So that's how this works. And yeah, so again, you can read through the prompt, but basically I just asked to create a chapters for the article and I provide an example of what output I actually want. So I want the agent to create like an array of chapters, add a chapter name, and then add a description for the chapter. So what the chapter is going to be about based, on the information that I provide. And in the system message, we have the article topic. So again, this is from Airtable. Then we have the research about the topic. We have research about the target audience. And what is the planned article length in words. So I'm adding this just so the AI agent would be aware like what is going to be the length of the article and wouldn't make too many chapters, because then the chapter is going to be very short and it's not going to make much sense. And then the final thing is just the structured output parser, which is again showing what finally structure I expect to get. And on the side you can see here that I have the response app like output and chapters. So this is exactly what I want. I want chapters in an array. So the chapter name, understanding the carnivore diet, and description, explore the fundamentals of the carnivore diet, emphasizing its all animal product nature. Then chapter name, how the carnivore diet promotes weight loss, and description. So this gives just an array of chapters. And why I do this, because then I want to do research for each chapter individually. So again, when I said that like this research agent team does deep research and goes really into the topic, that's what I meant. It just doesn't do one-time research on the topic, second time on the target audience and finishes with that. It actually does research for each chapter individually. So this splits out the chapters. So for example, here we're receiving like an array of chapters. So chapter 0, chapter 1, and over here it splits that into separate items. So we have 8 chapters, that means 8 items. And what this does, this allows the chapter research agent to do research on each chapter individually. So again, for the open, like for the chat model, I'm using 4.0 mini in this case for this agent. Then the same Perplexity research tool, there's nothing new. This is the exact same tool that I'm talking about. But what it has, it just has a bit more information. So again, it has pretty much the same prompt as the topic, like the manager agent. But over here, what I'm doing is I'm also, providing the topic, providing like the research we have, the research about target audience, and the chapter for which we're doing the article. And then we're also adding the description of the chapter. So this is very important. We provide the chapter name, so it knows, how we're thinking to name the chapter, and we're also showing about what we want that chapter to be. Yeah, so what this does, as you can see, for example, if I'm going to zoom in, we've, out of one item, we've split out into 8 items. Then the chapter research agent did research for all 8 items, so 8 chapters. And then finally we do aggregate. So we just aggregate the output into one, pretty much long JSON. As you can see here, like a long string of information collected. And that's when we start to do the writing. So I'm going to share this whole workflow in the description down below, where you can download it and check it by yourself. I'm going to include the Perplexity research tool, and I'm going to include the hold this flow, but the only thing that I'm not going to include is going to be the writing assistant prompt and the humanization assistant prompt, because these, first of all, I have been working on them for quite some time, and I don't want, anyone just to get this for free. And plus, if everyone will start using the exact same prompt, then there's going to be a bunch of articles that look the same, and then eventually, what's the point of building this in the first place? But as well, I'm actually gonna go into the writing assistant, show you just very quickly what it does. So here I put, the main prompt or the main system prompt. So again, I provide the content strategy, the like parameters. I add, the specifications like the topic research, suggested outline, target audience, and there I like the article length in terms of words. So I provide all of that data over here to the writing assistant, and it gives this output, which is not the final, because then what we actually do, we go into the humanization assistant. And what this assistant actually does, it tries to bypass the AI detectors. Let me be honest, it doesn't work 100% of the time. Like it's still being rewritten by the same AI, but it helps sometimes. So in this case, what we can do is actually we can take this article, copy, let's say, the text from it. So I'm going to copy it. I'm going to go into the AI detector that I have over here, and I'm going to paste. So this is the initially written article, and it's going to give me like the percentage of how much it was written by AI. So 100% of the article is written by AI, which is, fair enough. It was written by AI. But then we can go into the humanization assistant and see what is the output over here. And let me be honest, again, I have no idea how this turned out. It might be like it decreased to 95%, maybe it decreased to 80%, maybe to 75, or maybe to 20. Each time I have to check this manually. You never know, but let's just paste this information here and the text. So again, let's see. Okay, so it just dropped to 95%. So that's not a lot, but that's something. And again, in a cases where you want to bypass these AI detectors, you usually have to pay for some services that actually work really well. But going back to the humanization assistant, so I'm gonna show you like what is usually the structure of such prompt, because it's a bit different to what we are used to. But how I'm actually prompting these like humanization agents is by saying that they need to increase the perplexity and like unpredictability in word choice, because essentially what AI does, it just tries to predict what the next word is going to be, and it chooses the most common word. So for example, if I'm going to say, if AI is going to write, I want to bake the next word, you're probably going to guess it, is going to be cake. And that's how these AI checkers work. They just check, what is the predictability of the word, and if it's the most common, then it's highly likely that AI written that article. But for example, if then we trying to humanize, then the humanization prompt is going to try to add a more maybe difficult word or a less common word. So for example, again, if we go here, you can see that there's like a word nada, and everything else of the menu. Probably not something that common amongst AI, but like, sometimes I get like below 20%, sometimes I get, see 95%, sometimes 70%. So it doesn't work 100% of the time. If you want to make this better, you actually have to pay for additional APIs, which is costly. But if this works, let's say 1 time out of 5, I'm pretty happy. I just have to redo it several times. But let's get back to this quickly. So then the basically prompt goes like this: enhance burstiness, sentence structure variability, reduce AI-like linguistic patterns, disrupt AI detection mechanisms, ensure domain awareness and natural knowledge expression, and avoid detector-triggered false positives. Yeah, and of course that prompt goes a bit more in depth than I have output requirements. So again, sorry that, but I'm not gonna share this. I have to keep something for myself. So the writing prompt and this particular is gonna be for me. And then I have so probably an important thing to mention that for all of these I used OpenAI for Mini, but for writing and humanization assistance, what I did is I used Claude. Because just Claude, in my eyes and in other people's eyes from other perspectives, just seems to perform a bit better when it comes to writing. It writes a bit more natural and it's a bit less, it doesn't seem like AI written that article, because for example OpenAI sometimes writes very, very like AI, which is no surprise. But then also you might notice another difference, that instead of using like agents, here I used just LLM chains. Why is that? So these agents, they actually had particular tools. So for example, they had Perplexity research tool and they needed to do the research. Whereas these assistants, they only need to do is make an API call to OpenAI. And for example, what I noticed from my experience is that when you add an agent like this to do the writing, it actually performs a bit worse than just an LLM chain. I don't know why. It just, from my perspective, performs worse. Therefore, all of the previous steps are agents because they have Perplexity research tool, and this one, it just has like LLM chains for writing, and that's it, because they don't need to do anything else. They just need to write the article and then humanize it. And then almost the last step is the formatting agent. This one is simple. I provide the article. I don't know why I add the research on the topic, probably not necessary. Oh yeah, I add the research on the topic for this agent because it includes all of the citations. I add the important notes. And what I do here, I just tell to follow like the HTML format, to format it into HTML, to add the citations and how to add those citations. And then simply what it does, it updates the record in Airtable to done. And there's like a funny thing is that it makes an HTTP request, and you can see that it makes an HTTP request to a webhook in make.com, where it sends like the HTML article, so the whole HTML, and like the record ID. And in make, what this does, it receives the article, it parses the H1 tag to get like the title, and creates a Google Doc. Why does it do that? Because in n8n is just not capable of adding HTML in a nice format. So now we can click on the article and see how it was written. So decoding the carnivore diet, this was the title that it chose. And as you can see, we immediately have the citations and the whole article. So actually, like in my particular case, I specifically instructed AI to not add, to add 3 or more citations, but no less than 3. Why? I just don't like stuffing the links in the article. And 3, I think, is the sweet point. Of course, in your prompts, for example, in this particular case, in the formatting agent, you can prompt it to, add, I added like 3 hyperlinks, but you can add way more if you want. Like you can write 5, you can add 6, just instruct the AI to do that. And there it is. So while I was going through the flow, so this was the article that actually finished. This is how it looks. Again, probably you can do another test for the AI checkers just to see. Sometimes it's like even the AI checkers, they make stuff up and it can look totally different. Maybe this one, oh, you see, right now it shows us like 74% detectable by the AI checker. So it did reduce the likelihood of it being AI, and maybe this is because of the formatting. Maybe the formatting also does like an impact to this result. But yeah, if you enjoyed watching this video, hit a like on this video, subscribe to my channel. There's going to be a workflow where you can download this whole team of research agents. And as well, there's a link where you can subscribe to my newsletter to follow my journey. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I see you in the next one.